Hey, Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. I'm in quarantine jail.
Oh no.
I'm going on day 5. I don't know which way is up or down. I
Sorry to
got
hear that.
COVID. Trying to work.
Uh, uh, you're functional though somewhat.
Yeah, I'm on the tail end of it now.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
How are you?
Uh, I feel exhausted from doing a whole bunch of nothing. Um,
Right?
I got up yesterday morning. Yeah, yesterday morning, and I had to run somewhere. I forget where I had to run to, the store or something. Oh, what day we at? Yesterday morning, I had to go for a haircut. I noticed Monday that my wife's car, the front passenger side um, tire was low. So
Hmm.
I got up early on Saturday, yesterday morning, went got put air in the tire, went and got my hair cut, and then I went to the dealership and uh, and I told them, I says, hey, this front tire seems to have a leak in it. I filled it up yesterday and I had to fill it up again this morning. Um, you know, see if it needs to be plugged or we need a new tire or what. And after being there for about 3.5 hours,
Mm.
they said we couldn't find any problem with it. We had our
Hmm.
guy look at it, we had the shop manager looking at it. We can't find a problem. So, hey, it saved you the cost of a tire. And I'm thinking, hey, it cost me 3.5 freaking hours to be
Of
here
my life.
of my life. And I bet you when I get home, I'm going to find out that I still have a problem. So I get
Right?
the thing home last night and I park it in the driveway close to where my air compressor is. So I knew I could pump it back up again in the morning. And my wife at one point says, hey, do you mind if I show you something on this tire? She calls me out and shows me the sidewall damage. Apparently, as the tire got lower, it opened up where the damage was. And
Oh,
I went inside, got a sponge with some soapy water on it, dabbed it onto the spot, and I could see the bubbles bubbling out. And I'm like, that's the leak, sure enough. So I'm like,
wow.
well, what do I do now? Do I go back to the dealership or do I, you know, where's a good place? Do I look at Costco and see what tires are there? And I happen to have a Facebook group just for the James Island area where I live. So I
Mhm.
posted out on that last night. I says, hey, where do you guys suggest for a good place to get some new tires at, either on James Island or nearby? And I got a couple of suggestions. Some of them were Costco, but I had already looked at Costco. And although I could buy some from them, I had to order them in and it was going to take at least to the 24th to the 27th or something like that. So it's going to take like a week or more to get the
Mhm.
tires just to Costco near me to be able to put them on. And which would have meant I would have had to take off the damaged tire and put on the emergency spare.
Mhm.
And then a couple other people mentioned a couple of other local shops. And one of them I went, that's where I'm going. This place called Gerard's. And so I got up early this morning. They opened at 7:30. I pulled into their lot like right about 7:30, and there was a line of people waiting for them to open their door. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
I'm like, I think I picked the right place because if there's this many people coming, they must be pretty fair.
Exactly.
So I parked as close as I could because I couldn't even actually park in their lot. But there was some restaurants next door to them that didn't open until later in the day. So I was able to park over there, wait in line for, I don't know, 20 minutes to a half an hour until I finally got into the door and talked to somebody at the counter, told them
Wow.
what was wrong. Says, I think I said, I found the sidewall damage. I marked it with some chalk, but I know you can't fix sidewall damage. You have to replace the tire. I told
Mhm.
them, look, I need a new tire, and if I need two, not a problem, because a lot of times those are replaced in pairs.
Mhm.
So it took them a while because some people had appointments and other people were in line ahead of me. And when they did finally bring my car around to the front of the shop, they kind of looked at it for a few minutes and then they came out and they said, here's your option of two tires for, it was a little under $400, which was actually about $100 less than Costco. I'm like, let's do it. And they went, okay, it's going to take about an hour to an hour and a half to get the tires here because we don't have those in stock. And I'm like, oh
Okay.
man, all right, sure, whatever. I need them. I need them. So I spent about 4 hours at Gerald's. That's what it's called, Gerald's today, till they finally got my tires in and got them on. And now I'm a happy boy. But so I spent 3 hours plus yesterday, 4 hours today. Finally got some tires on it, but a lot of it I just sat around waiting. And I got home this afternoon and I was exhausted from just sitting around doing nothing.
Right, man. Such a pain in the butt. I'm glad you finally got it taken care of.
Yeah. So, at least I know in the future, if somebody says, pick up some tires, Gerald's is probably one of the places to go. There's another local shop that they recommended as well. But yeah, they saved me about $100. Some unknown brand name, never heard of them, Xena tires. I'm like, oh boy, we got Warrior Princess tires on the front of the car. And the other project, because we've had a couple projects going on here at the house from Costco a couple of months back in March, we bought a swimming pool. It was 22 foot by 12 foot by 4 foot deep. And great, we got the pool, but it was in a box. And I didn't have a good area to place it yet. I needed some sand. And so I ended up ordering, the pool cost us, I think, $700 or $800, $799, $699, somewhere in there. And then I spent another like $500 on 6x6 timbers to build this big box where I was going to load the sand into. And then a couple $100 on the sand. And then a week and a half or 2 weeks, probably about a week and a half, waiting till the weather cooled down so I could get out there and level out all this sand, and finally got the pool assembled and finally got it filled up with water. And at that we went, oh, well, we need some shade on our back patio. So we ordered this 10 foot by 13 foot little gazebo thing. And
Nice.
So my wife and I got home, I took a nap, and then I got out and I started pulling out the parts for this gazebo and doing some of the basic assembly to that. Right before meeting started, we got the main outer frame of the gazebo up, and tomorrow all I have to do is a couple of extra pieces across the top and put in, it's a cloth canopy top that opens and closes, which I like, because if we get windy, I can open it and the wind won't pick the thing up. And when it's sunny and not windy, close it up and have some nice shade back there. But like I said, it was mostly just waiting for the tires to get that done. Total in, I had about 7+ hours on getting a tire fixed.
All right. Such an adventure.
Yeah, quite the adventure. All right. Well, I rambled on a little bit. I see it is 7:06 already. We got a couple of us here on the call. It is, first off, I'll apologize to you guys. I didn't even do the announcement of the meeting until just a couple of hours ago. I kind of forgot about it with all this tire running around. But let's go ahead and get started. Well, first by welcoming everybody who's here on the call with me today. Also welcome to anybody who might be viewing this on our live stream on YouTube, and welcome to anybody who might be watching it as a recording on YouTube later on. As I mentioned YouTube, I always like to point out that we do not monitor the comment section on the YouTube channel. But if you do have any questions, comments, and or concerns, leave them down below, off to the side, wherever your device allows you to leave the comments. And once YouTube is done rendering our video, usually about 24 hours, we will revisit the YouTube and try and answer any questions, comments, and or concerns. Next, I will go ahead with our normal disclaimer at the beginning of our meetings that all of our meetings are an environment of education and awareness and are not an open market for the sale, purchase, or distribution of cannabis. We do not encourage or condone illegal behavior of any kind. All right, go ahead and close that up. Take a little quick peek here. I see we've got a hello in the chat, and also Josh will be in Charleston tomorrow, Saturday, if you want to, tomorrow through Saturday. Cool. Yeah, I'd say let's get together at some point. I know it's Saturday. I do have to run down to Marion Square Market. Um, one of the vendors that I like to go to is going to be there. He is a former police officer with the North Charleston Police Department. Um, and he started a pepper sauce company. He goes by the name of Warrant Man Pepper Company or something like that. And although I've never had the peppers sauce, the first time I saw him there a couple years ago, I bought a copy of his book, and it was called Low Country Cop. And it was about his experiences being a cop in the Low Country, actually patrolled right here on James Island where I live. So I guess he was with Charleston County Sheriff's Department or something, because not just, this is not North Charleston area. I don't know. I don't remember the book now. I think I have it back in my little cannabis library back there. But anyway, last time I saw him, I want to say probably last summer, late last fall. He also had a new product called Arson Salt, and it's basically rock salt that you put in a grinder with ghost peppers and what was the other one? Carolina Reaper peppers. And that salt really just kind of blends with those peppers very nicely. You have to be a little bit careful with it. I put some in some soup the other day, and apparently some of the peppers floated to the top. And as I'm sipping some of it, I must have inhaled a little bit of the peppers. It caught me in the back of the throat and had me coughing. But
when that happens.
But yeah, both the wife and I really enjoy the Arson Salt. Very good spicy salt to add. We put it on our pizza. We put it on just about everything, to be quite honest with you. Made me maybe think about trying his sauces at some point. But let me check with my wife on that, Josh, and see if she wants to come down to the market with me, or if maybe we can go down to the market and just sort of set up off the corner of Marion Square and hand out some free marijuana information. I have not been out in a while, and I would love to kind of do that. So maybe I can swing that. We will see. If not, even if you're just here in the area, you said tomorrow, which is Thursday and Friday, maybe we can find some time to get out, on Friday instead of Saturday. Which is another good option. A lot of good people, a lot of folks are downtown or in other areas. Let's plan on getting together and do something. You're leaving Saturday morning. Okay, cool. Let's plan on Friday. See if we can get out and do some advocating on Friday. All right, see, we got Joey just joined us as well. So that's my little sidetrack chat here, is about Warrant Man pepper sauce and the Arson Salt. Tonight is really a rehash of a meeting we had back in April talking about the primary elections coming up, the NORML Smoke the Vote Voters Guide, and also the South Carolina NORML Candidate Questionnaire. I will pull those up real quick and share those links in the chat in case you do want them. I have been trying to hammer as many of the candidates as I can, primarily through Facebook and or their websites when I can find them. Couple of the candidates, surprisingly, I don't know if they're not running or not promoting, but there's a couple of them I can't even find a website or a Facebook page for. And I don't know if I've hit everybody on the Smoke the Vote guide. But if you happen to go to the Smoke the Vote guide and scroll through to your district, almost all of the the election for this year is House members. There are no Senate members at the state level. There is a U.S. Congress Senate seat and also House seats at the federal level. So we do have some of that going on federal level. And there's actually a special election, I want to say Dorchester County, District 27. That is going on the 27th, which is just over a week from today. I need to open the guide myself. That's a special election, and that is for House District 97. I don't know if they're putting somebody in that seat and then they still have to run off again at the end of the year. I would think so. I would think they'd have to run again at the end of the year. Let me scroll down and look at District 97 down further. Yes, yes, because there's actually although there's this special election on the 27th, coming up on the 14th of June is the primary for the state. And there are 3 candidates running on the Democratic ticket on the Republican ticket for that same House seat. And so there's going to be a runoff again for that, and then a final election again for that on in November. So this special election to me is kind of silly because there's somebody's going to be the incumbent come the primary and through the through the primary at least, and then through prior to the November election to fill that seat, although session's done for the season, for the year. So I don't know what kind of representation they're really going to be able to give the people of that district. We did have, let me go back up to the top of that. In the special election, we have 2 people running for that, a Democrat and a Republican. The Democratic candidate, Razan Lewis, has responded to our candidate questionnaire. If you click on his name, you can open that up and you can see his responses to the questionnaire, his position on marijuana legalization, decriminalization, and medical marijuana. He has, based on our rubric for the Smoke the Vote guide for state elections, garnered himself an A rating. The other candidate, Robbie Robbins, the Republican candidate for the special election, we have tried to contact him repeatedly, both through his Facebook and through his website, I believe, to answer our candidate guide, our candidate questionnaire. I've sent it to him at least twice, I believe 3 times, and have not received a response. So if you happen to be looking at that on your screen now, actually I can share it with you real quick. Make sure I get the right one. There we go. You can see he has no rating at all at this point. We know nothing about his position on cannabis. He is not an incumbent, so he hasn't been in any position to vote for any legislation or co-sponsor any legislation. With that said, we as an organization have endorsed Razan Lewis for the special election. And I'm going to scroll down with you all on here. That endorsement, for some reason, also follows down to the primary in January. And here it is again. I'm not sure why, because they're 2 different elections. And although we're endorsing for the special election, we're not sure who we're endorsing in the primaries, although this Damian Daly, who's running against them in the primaries, again, has not responded to our questionnaire. We've got absolutely no information on their position. So there is still a good chance that we may endorse this candidate for their cannabis position. But again, I've tried to reach out to all of these people. I don't know if I've hit everybody on the list. As a matter of fact, I know there's some that I've been unable to contact. So I will put it out there to y'all again real quick. If you have an opportunity to go through the Smoke the Vote guide and you find candidates in your district that do not have a rating yet, copy that candidate questionnaire. Matter of fact, what I can do, I'll plop this in the chat as soon as I find it on my screen here. What I would ask you to do is just copy and paste this whole segment. Let me get it here. All right, find the chat window. There it is. Just copy and paste this whole little segment here that says, with the primary election just around the corner and after the recent debacle in the House, knowing your cannabis policy is more important than ever. Please complete the questionnaire so that we can include you in the NORML Smoke the Vote voter guide. Like I say, if you happen to know anybody in your district that has not answered the question on our guide, and you can see some have, some haven't. Although Joe Cunningham and Mia McLeod have not specifically answered our guide, we know their positions from their activity in legislature. We know Joe's from his announcement last July, and also from being on our cannabis conversation. And if you visit his website, he's very clear in supporting medical decriminalization and legalization. You'll also see up above that a little bit, independent Gary Vitor. He has responded and filled out our questionnaire. And again, is another gubernatorial candidate that has supported marijuana legalization and decriminalization and medical use. So you'll also see none of those have an endorsement at this point. We're not endorsing any of them, I don't believe, through the primary. We're just going to kind of let that play out. Again, if we look down here in the Republican primary candidates, of course, our incumbent Governor McMaster, also Harrison Musselwhite goes by Trucker Bob, and Mindy Steele. I've reached out to all of those repeatedly, even Henry, to complete our candidate questionnaire, and I've gotten no response back from them. Let me double check on Trucker Bob. I thought I did get something, at least a message back from them. No, I did not. Nothing. I thought I heard something back from them. I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. Oh, before I scroll down too far, I do also want to mention that, heck, I said May 27th. That was May 17th. That just happened yesterday. I don't even know what the results were. I'm going to have to go double check that. I'm surprised that didn't sort of drop off of here immediately. There is a special election coming up on Tuesday, May 24th. And this is for House District 18. There is one candidate running, Alan Morgan. Again, we've got no response from him on the candidate questionnaire. Really, with no other candidates running in that party, the primary is kind of a moot point. Then as we scroll down, you'll see we get to our June 14th primaries. At the top of the list, it does mention the governor's race. As we scroll down a little bit further, why it's broken apart here. U.S. House District 1, Democrat and Dr. Annie Andrews from Mount Pleasant is running. She has promised to fill out the questionnaire and has not yet, but I happen to be on a Zoom call with the Berkeley County Democrats one day where they had her on as a special guest, and they had the opportunity to ask questions, which was kind of funny because I was the first one to put my little hand up. And I could almost tell by her expression, she knew what I was going to ask because I've been asking her over and over and over again. And that was, again, one of the places where she said she would get through the candidate questionnaire. Hasn't yet, but did voice in that particular Zoom meeting her support for medical decriminalization and legalization. So we did give her an A for that. I would like to, let me see if I open it up. I'd like her to finish the questionnaire just so we could round out some more information on her position on the individual page there, which is, as you see in this one from candidate Lewis, he gave us some nice information in there. Running against her, and she's the only one running in the Democratic Party. So again, the primary is kind of a moot point for her at this point. She will have the endorsement of the Democratic Party for that seat. What is more important in that particular race is Representative Nancy Mace is running up against Katie Arrington. And there is a Linz Piper Loomis, again, has not answered the questionnaire, has been asked repeatedly. Katie has been asked repeatedly to fill out the questionnaire and has not. And Nancy, I must admit, has as well, and has not filled out the questionnaire. So some of the information we have on her, you can see here, 2019, it's some older information. But we also know that what gives her an A right off the top is sponsoring descheduling legislation at the federal level. So there is going to be a race here between Nancy and Katie. They're both spending some money on advertising, which I must admit, when we were in the conversation with this Dr. Annie Andrews a couple of weeks back, she said, I don't have anybody running against me in the primary. I don't have to worry about spending what little money we have collected from donations at this point. I can kind of save this until we get to the generals in November, where she knows at this point Nancy and Katie are going to be having to spend from their campaign funds for the primary. And so she's hoping that gives her, Dr. Annie hopes it gives her a little step up as we move towards the generals, because she didn't have to spend her campaign funds in the primaries and will be in a better position for marketing and advertising down the road. Lost Jess. But that is the, excuse me, that is House District 1. Before we move on, I do want to mention this one, why it's sort of floating in the middle between House District 1 Democrats and Republicans. I don't know, but race for Attorney General. Alan Wilson is running against Lauren Martell in the Republican primary coming up on January 14th. I'm going to open up Lauren Martell's for a moment, and you will see under comments here a link that says Attorney General candidate Lauren Martell interview. This was shared with me by Joey, who's actually on the call right now. And the link that I have in on that starts right about minute 29 in a 33-minute interview. She speaks briefly about her position on medical marijuana and seems to be supportive for the most part. So she was able to garner a B for that on our candidate guide. I'd have to go back and check my searches here. I'm in my conversation. What's her name? L.A. I don't see it here. There it is. I did have a bit of a conversation with her. I don't know, this should be sharing on my site, where I sent her the request to fill out the candidate questionnaire, actually twice. On the second time, She started actually conversing with me. I want to say this was this past Sunday. That was just a few days ago. And again, kind of mentioned that she would look over the questionnaire and possibly answer it, but I haven't seen any response back from her on it since. But based on the conversation and based on the interview on just supporting medical, she did manage to get a B. And my guess is, since there is no Democratic opposition or primary going on for that particular seat, there won't be one then in the generals that I'm aware of. So I'm guessing this Lauren Martell will probably eventually get our endorsement for that seat, because we've got to get Alan Wilson out of there. We need at least somebody who's willing to consider medical and move forward in there. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on all the other races, but I do want to point out U.S. House District 2. Again, these are federal level, federal U.S. Congress. We have endorsed Judd Larkin in District 2, which is up, I want to say, just outside of Columbia. He's running against Joe Wilson, who has not been a friend to cannabis. There is no opposition in District 3. Jeff Duncan is the only one running there. House District 4, we do have a race going on. Although the Democrat and the Independent, there is no need for a primary. They will be the endorsed candidates. This is Ken Hill and Michael Chandler. Again, I've tried to contact them both to get them to answer the questionnaire, as well as all the other candidates on the Republican ticket for this particular race. I will come down a little bit more. We do have House District 4. I'm sorry, I was just talking for District 5. And again, there is no, it's split. We have Ralph Norman, who's got a C+. I'm not quite sure why he's got up that high in the House. And there are 2 candidates running in the primary for that District 5 seat in the Democratic Party. The Evangeline Hundley, we have not heard anything from. We have had this Kevin Eckert respond very positively to all of our queries about medical decriminalization and legalization. So again, that is another candidate we have endorsed for that particular seat, just because I don't think Ralph Norman's going to switch his position at all. District 6 is just a Republican primary ticket right now, no other opposition in there. District 7, we've got quite a list of people on that ticket for the Republican Party. And as we come down here, you'll also see we have 2 independent candidates running there. We have had this Larry Hammond answer our questionnaire. He's got an A- because some of his positions a little bit, I want to say maybe wishy-washy. Tom Rice, he's got a B, although, we'd like to see a stronger support for cannabis. He is the strongest U.S. congressional member in the House to support cannabis compared to all of the others. So we've got to give him credit for that. And again, in that particular race for the Republican primary, he will probably get our endorsement the next week or so. I'd really like to see him fill out the questionnaire. As we drop down below that, we are starting to talk about state house districts throughout our state, which is very important. I mean, if you all watched, and I know most of you that are on the call did, and I'm assuming many of you that may be watching this later on YouTube also watched the debates in this in the 3M committee, then probably watched the short-lived debate on the House floor. And although it made it out of the House committee, or the 3M committee, pretty favorably, It was shot down on the technicality on the House floor, 59 to 55 to table it, basically killing it on the House floor. And although there was the last ditch Hail Mary effort by Senator Davis to attach it to S690, what they call the, what was that? The quick fill bill, something like that. Um, it was a pharmaceutical bill, pharmacy bill in the state. It was deemed as not appropriate. What was the word I'm looking for? Non-germane to that bill, so that was not able to make it. Real quick, see what Josh kind of says here. Yeah, you got to wonder about some of that stuff. I got to admit, where these lawmakers make their decisions and why, I'm pretty clueless myself on and befuddled and dumbfounded quite a bit. I knew moving from Pennsylvania to South Carolina, there would be some differences, although the legislators in Pennsylvania aren't a whole lot better, if any better. To be quite honest with you, there's still some craziness going on up there. Although I did see Fetterman won his primary, I guess, to become a member of Congress. He was the lieutenant governor, has been the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, and has been very outspoken pro-cannabis for a while now. I'd love to see him at the federal level, seeing about moving some of that legislation forward federally. Again, one other endorsement here, and there might be a couple throughout that, but we're still working on some of our final endorsements in some of these different races, only because, again, we're getting some good positive answers from some of these candidates, where some of the others, if they're not, if they're not answering the questionnaire, my guess is they're not interested. And so they're not going to be getting our endorsement. Some of these are incumbents, and we just know that some of their positions from being incumbents. And so that's where you will see some of these others that will have a grade. But when you go and click into their information, you won't see a whole lot of, you won't see the answers to the questionnaire, and you won't see a whole lot of info, except for like this one, co-sponsored H3 3521. Legalized cannabis back in 2018. That wasn't even a recent bill. And some of this, we may not have updated information if they were co-sponsors of the Herb Kurzman version of the Compassionate Care Act. What? Where are we at? 7:35. I don't want to run this too late tonight. We're just kind of rehashing stuff that we talked about the other week. Let me go ahead and just open it up real quick. If anybody has any comments or questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can turn on your mic and you can go ahead and ask them directly.
I had a good time at the Capitol last Thursday. When I took the signs out there.
Oh, okay. Is that what you call the State House, the castle?
Yeah, the Capitol, State House.
Oh, okay, I've never heard it called that before.
Yeah, I had a few good conversations and, made some people laugh. Once I got done in front of the Capitol, I went and stood on Gervais and Assembly with my free marijuana information sign. And had a lot of excitement from that, and actually had one person pull over to get a picture. So it was fun.
Nice.
I see so much support while I'm out there, but at the same time, it's hard to get people to join. So,
yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you, our membership, paid dues members, is like 18 or so, and that's including our board. It's a challenge to get people to put their name on it and to put a little bit of money where their mouth is. And we did have the fundraiser through the Knot this year. We were hoping that they would do as well or better than they did last year, and they actually did not. They did only about 2/3 of the donation of what they did last year. A little disappointed, but it was still, about a $640 donation, which for us, it is huge. It is huge because it just helps us fund, a lot of the different things we do. And like I say, sometimes it's little things, but when I see the monthly bill come through for the Zoom account or for our Shopify account, or annually to have to pay the post office box, these things add up. And then not too long ago, because we had set up for a couple of 420 events, and I'm searching around going, where's the 4-foot banner? Where's the 4-foot banner? And I'm like, I left that up in Columbia, which I did. I left it for you, the one that hangs on the front of the table. So, I went out and I ordered another one. And like I say, $600 doesn't go real far. And that's where we really hope more people would sort of, like I say, put their money where their mouth is, get the dues paying memberships. And that's one of the reasons why we followed what National did. National, about 2 or 3 years ago, turned it into an annual dues instead of like a one-time thing. For many years, it was, you donate one time and you get your normal card, and you were kind of a member. Although they did have, I remember some other, member for life fees somewhere along the line, but they made it official a couple of years back. I want to say almost 4 or 5 years now. And we just followed suit where we did an annual membership. And that's why we try and push it early in the year. And we still get a couple throughout the year. But I haven't been pushing it real hard this year either. And that would be nice for people to say, yeah, where do I sign up? How do I get my membership badge? Because I think I like the membership badge. I love wearing those things. People take notice to it pretty regularly. I'm thrilled that you went out. As you know, I shared it out to our page, and I'm here cheering you on from behind the scenes. Absolutely. So we'll look to do that, basically the same kind of thing on Friday. We'll go downtown Charleston and just kind of hit the streets, whether we stay at one spot or whether we kind of travel some of the circuit, go down to where they call down to Meeting Street and over to Market Street and right there to Marion Square. I have an urge to go down to the Justice Center, the County Justice Center. But we'll see how weather holds, and we'll kind of make a plan for that. So touch base with me when you get into town. Do you have my cell phone number, Josh?
I do not believe so. You can
Go ahead.
just
I'm
send
gonna
it.
type it here in the chat. And I don't think that goes out to YouTube, so we should be pretty safe with that. That's my cell phone number. And if I don't answer the first time, it's because unknown numbers kind of get, it doesn't ring for me. So I might have to leave me a message, and then I'll call you right back. And then I'll add you, on my contact list if I don't have you on there already, which I should. And if you're on my contact list, it should ring. Let me just check my contact list. I just clicked the wrong button here.
Yeah, you should have all my info. I'm a proud member.
Yeah, well, this is sort of a different list. Yeah, I'll make sure I put you on my actual contact list for my phone, which I do not have, but I'll go grab that from the membership information. Cool. That'll be fun. I want to get out, and while that we're mentioning it, I'm going to real quick just peek at the weather for Friday. And although I'm expecting to hear from the county park tomorrow or Friday about starting the new job there, I don't think they'll have me on schedule yet until like a week or so later. High of 89, partly sunny and very warm. So see if we can find ourselves some shady spots to set up or hope for a little bit of good breeze going on. Oh yeah, touch base with me when you get into town and we will definitely make plans to meet on Friday. While I'm here, I just want to go ahead and open up this other screen. Why not open up there? Custom. Ah, cool. Got it right there. Thank you. Now I can load that right in. Click the button, add to contacts. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I have my cell phone set up. If somebody's not on my contact list, it won't ring through. They have to leave messages. Now you are on the contact list. Cool. All righty. We will call it a night for tonight. I don't think there's really much else to talk about. And as always, I want to thank you for being here with me and chatting with me. Don't forget, reach out to any candidates in your area. Try and get them to fill out the candidate questionnaire for us. We've had about 17 respondents, although one of them was a municipal level and one of them was a 2024 presidential candidate who's not on the smoke the vote list at the moment, because those are usually only for elections 60 days out. But he seems like a bit of a character up in the Myrtle Beach area. Could be interesting. Otherwise, that's all I have for you tonight. As always, don't forget to visit our social media on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We do post more to Facebook than anywhere else. Visit our website at scnormal.org. And while there, scroll all the way down to the first page and sign up for our newsletter if you have not already. And besides that, don't forget to come on back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. for some more cannabis conversation with South Carolina NORML. That's all I got for tonight, folks. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. Bye-bye now.